Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my girlfriend's grad school after she mocked my career? I, 31 male, own a small but successful carpentry business. I didn't go to college, but I make good money, and I'm proud of what I've built. My girlfriend, 27 female, is finishing her degree and was recently accepted into graduate school. I've always supported her goals and encouraged her to follow her dreams, even when it meant we had less time together. Last week, we were talking about her tuition costs. I told her I could help if she needed it, because I love her and I can afford it. She laughed and said, "You sure? That's a lot of wood to sell." I laughed it off at first, trying not to make it awkward, but she didn't stop there. She added, "I just can't imagine working with your hands all day." That stung more than I expected. My hands are how I earn my living. They've built the furniture in our apartment and helped put food on the table. I told her what she said was disrespectful, but she brushed it off, saying I was being too sensitive. I didn't want to fight, so I let it go for the moment. A few days later, she brought up her tuition again and asked if I'd still be willing to contribute. I told her no. I wasn't angry, but I couldn't bring myself to spend my hard-earned money to support someone who looked down on the way I earn it. She got upset and called me small-minded for holding a grudge. I reminded her that respect works both ways, but she didn't seem to care. Now she's telling our friends that I don't support women's education. A few of them have sent me messages saying I'm being unfair, but they don't know the full story. I never said she couldn't go to grad school. I just decided not to fund someone who mocked my work and made me feel small for doing something I love. I still care about her deeply, but this whole situation opened my eyes. I work hard, I'm proud of what I do, and I don't think it's wrong to expect the same level of respect I give. She can go to school if she wants, but maybe it's time she learns what real value means. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She will use you to fund grad school and then find the husband in grad school. She called me small-minded for holding a grudge. No, she's the small-minded one for believing that graduate education is the only career path that is important and prestigious. I say this as someone with a Juris Doctorate. When was the last time this snob tried to hire a skilled tradesperson? They are more valuable than a dozen lawyers when you need one. That work takes skills that I could never have with all the education I have. I'd suggest OP look at how she treats other people. How does she interact with service staff? Is she rude? Does she tip badly? That, along with her attitude towards skilled trades, will tell you who she is as a person, and OP should listen and act accordingly. Don't stay with someone who treats people badly when she views them as below her simply based on education. That is a bad person, not the a-hole. How a person treats waitstaff and laborers tells you all you need to know about that person. Not the a-hole. She likes your money, but she doesn't respect the way you earn it. As a boyfriend, you are not required to support her education. You are not her husband, nor are you her dad. I would not recommend you help her with her tuition at all. She can work part-time and take out loans. If you get married at some point after she graduates, you can help her pay off her loans then if you want. She likes your money, but she doesn't respect the way you earn it, is spot on. This is the course of action I would take. Do not help her with tuition. That is basically a gift that she can take and just walk away whenever she wants. Not the a-hole. You know you're just temporary, right? She's not gonna settle for you. When she gets a job that matches her education, she's gonna left with someone with her level. This comment is brutally honest and the most plausible conclusion. She doesn't recognize your talent and probably never will. She's not on your side. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I will divorce my husband, even if it puts his citizenship at risk? My husband came to this country on a student visa and worked for years on an H-1B visa before we were married. He's from India. We work in the same industry and even used to work at the same company. His parents have been staying with us for a few months, and his mom is a nightmare. She treats me like a servant. Her English is limited, but she has been repeatedly told that I work the same number of hours as my husband, and I actually make more than he does. She's staying in my house, which I own legally, not my husband. There was a huge fight with her over the weekend because I did something she considered disrespectful. It was my birthday party, and I hugged and kissed a male friend on the cheek and danced with him. My husband had no problem with it because this friend is very gay. But my mother-in-law completely lost it on me and my friend at my own party. After that, I told my husband that her visit was over and she needed to go back to India. She was supposed to stay until November because she wanted to experience an American Thanksgiving, but I said no, she needed to leave. My husband and I got into a huge argument about his culture, and I told him that I would divorce him if he couldn't stand up for me. In the heat of the argument, I even said I felt like he used me for citizenship, and that I would say that in court if it came to that. He got really quiet after that, but he must have told his parents because they're leaving next week. Since then, he's been very moody and is sleeping in the guest room on his sleeping bag. He refuses to talk to me after what I said. I refused to apologize because it was his mother who caused the scene at my birthday party, not me. He tried to get in my face about the disrespect comment, and I fired back. I know what I said was mean, but it's true. He's lived in this country long enough to know his mother's behavior is out of line, and he's refused to check it. Not the a-hole, but I think when certain things are said, there's no turning back. Your relationship might have ran its course. Opie hit the self-destruct button. Her feelings may be true, but it also has consequences she has to now navigate. It really doesn't matter if she is the a-hole or not at this point, since there is no way to repair the situation. Acceptance of her fated decision is the only path forward. Yes, mixing cultures is hard, and to be honest, Indian culture really is closed-minded. There are massive issues, and for whatever reason they ignore it. A visiting person does not project their culture as a guest onto the host. That's actually Indian culture as well. They legit might even be kinda racist. Yeah, you can't unring that bell. Your marriage is effectively over. You absolutely shouldn't have been forced to tolerate your mother-in-law being a nightmare to you in your own house. You also absolutely shouldn't have made an existential threat to the security of his whole life. You will literally never be able to walk that one back. He now knows that if he pushes you, you will straight up threaten his freedom and his ability to remain in this country. His mother is a huge a-hole, and he is a spineless mama's boy who used culture as a shield against criticism, but you took the nuclear option there. I thoroughly agree with this assessment. You crossed a line in what you said. The sort of line that's really hard to walk back from. If you want to save your marriage, you need to go to couples counseling and unpack everything that's just happened. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my daughter stay with me and my wife after she found out that her mom lied to her? My ex and I share a 12-year-old daughter, Olivia, who has level 2 autism. My ex has primary custody, while I have Olivia every Wednesday and every other weekend. For the most part, our co-parenting arrangement has been peaceful and cooperative. We've both worked hard to keep things stable for Olivia because consistency is incredibly important for her emotional well-being and comfort. A few months ago, my ex told me she was feeling burnt out and needed a break. She asked if my wife and I could take Olivia from Wednesday through Sunday so she could go on a trip with some friends. I completely understood. Caring for a child with special needs can be exhausting, and everyone deserves rest sometimes. I agreed to help without hesitation. Because Olivia is very attached to her mom, my ex told her that she was going away for a work trip. She said it would be easier for Olivia to process if she thought her mom was leaving for work instead of fun. I didn't love the idea of flying, but I didn't argue at the time because it seemed harmless and short-term. Last week, everything fell apart. One of my ex's friends came over to their house, and while chatting, she accidentally mentioned something about their vacation. Olivia immediately picked up on it and realized that her mom's work trip was actually a holiday with friends. She completely melted down. She locked herself in her room, refused to eat dinner, and cried for hours. My ex tried to explain, but Olivia kept saying that her mom had lied to her, and her mom never lies. For Olivia, truth and routine are sacred. That trust being broken shook her deeply. Later that night, Olivia called me in tears, asking if she could come stay with me. I picked her up right away. Since then, she's been staying with us and hasn't wanted to go back. She cries often, saying she misses her mom but doesn't know if she can trust her anymore. It's heartbreaking to watch. Her aide at school called my ex recently because Olivia has been struggling emotionally and finding it hard to focus. Now my ex is demanding that I return Olivia immediately so they can get back to her normal routines and work through things with her therapist. but I told her Olivia will go back when she's ready. Forcing her before that could make things worse. My ex is furious. She's threatening to call the police or take me to court for custodial interference. My current wife thinks we should just send Olivia back to avoid conflict, but I can't bring myself to do that. Olivia's scared and fragile right now. She needs safety, not pressure. So here I am, torn between doing what's legally expected and what feels right as a father. Am I really the a-hole for letting my daughter stay until she feels ready to face her mom again? You're the a-hole. I'm autistic and so is my kid. Both of us would find this kind of lie upsetting, but it needs to be dealt with, and you refusing to send her home is making it worse. You went along with the lie as well. You have always had a good co-parenting relationship up until this point, so don't mess it up now. Have your ex over to your home and present a united front. Mom shouldn't have lied about why she was going away, and I shouldn't have gone along with it. We're sorry. Sometimes grown-ups screw up. We need to get back to our normal routine now, so you're going home with Mom. This is what sticks it to me. The dad and stepmom must have also lied. Even if it was a lie of omission, in order for the daughter to really believe that Mom was on a business trip. How can you not know? Sounds like you aren't a very involved parent. No wonder your ex is burnt out. Do better. You and your ex need to be on the same team here, and you need to step up. She does therapy on Tuesdays and Fridays. That's when her mom has her. Yeah, it seems like her mom has her most of the time. Have you not considered adjusting the custody arrangement to 50-50? We tried that, but she wasn't able to handle being away from her mom for a week at a time. Then weekends, but she was sad that she couldn't see her mom on weekends. This just ended up being what works best for her. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to support my wife after she took our kids to see her abusive parents before they die? My wife was verbally and physically abused by her parents as a child. It took many years of therapy to get her to a better place, and I was there with her for a big part of it after we met when we were 19. She opened up to me several times about what she went through at home. For her, one of the most difficult things to process or understand was the fact that her parents were mostly verbally abusive, and she found it hard to consider them that bad when they weren't beating her regularly. It was something that improved over time, and she eventually saw that, regardless, her parents were monsters to her. I won't detail it all here, but 14 years of remembered abuse never really goes away. She has been called all kinds of names and told all sorts of disgusting things. When we had kids, we swore we would always put them first, that their safety, health, and happiness would be our biggest priority. Now I'm faced with the fact that she went back on that. A few months ago, my wife was contacted by a hospice worker because her parents had been placed with them and wanted to see her. She went back and forth about her choice, but decided to go and visited them a few times. After one of those visits, she told me they wanted to meet our kids, and she told them no. She said it was hard to process that the people she knew actually wanted to meet their grandkids because she didn't think they would care. She swore the answer would always be no. Except it wasn't. She took the kids to see them behind my back, and those monsters were disgusting to my children, saying things nobody should ever hear, especially not kids. They didn't even understand everything that was said to them, but they were clearly upset and disturbed by it. To make it worse, they said their mom wouldn't leave when it started. My wife cried and apologized, looking for comfort, but I refused to give it. I told her she needed to find somewhere else to stay that night because the kids didn't need to be around the person who willingly exposed them to that. I spent the next few days focused only on my kids while my wife stayed away. When we finally talked, she made it about herself and what she'd been through. She wanted my support, but I was disgusted. She had offered our kids up to those monsters. I told her there was no way forward after what she did, and that I would be filing for divorce. She put our kids at risk and, even after a disturbing comment from her father toward our daughter, stayed for almost 2 hours. We're now living apart. She has seen the kids twice, but I don't trust her with them right now. I have everything documented, I have an attorney, and I contacted the police about her father's comment, so it's on record. I don't know what will happen, but I haven't offered support or much understanding to my wife. 2 of her friends are giving me grief, saying I'm making her out to be a villain instead of a victim, and that I should help her for the kids' sake. But this mistake was planned for over a week and kept from me. I don't think I'm an a-hole for not supporting her. Still, part of me wonders if I should have done more for all three of them, not just the kids. It's a small part, but it's there. Maybe the part of me that still loves my wife after all these years. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your children are your first priority, and your wife failed to protect from her abusive parents. Your children's safety and peace of mind overrides any trauma your wife is experiencing. I think I could work to get past her taking them. Thinking her parents changed wouldn't do that to her kids, and feeling guilt over keeping kids from their grandparents are those processes I can understand. But to make them stay once the abuse starts, that's unforgivable. That's perpetuating the abuse of your children. I don't understand this at all. Usually it's the person on the outside that doesn't understand the severity of the abuse, not the victim themselves, not the a-hole for protecting your children. I would expect your wife to be even more protective, but she's just not. Even threw them into the fire? Hid it all from you? It's all so strange, and you're not the a-hole for feeling betrayed and having serious doubts about who you married. Yes, she was a victim, and her parents probably were too, but it stops here, with your own children. I'm having trouble imagining what could have been said that made a police report viable. You understand the severity of the betrayal more than I could. I also imagine that you feel used, since she's seeking comfort from you for her harming your children. Seems like a defining moment. You can't unsee what you're currently understanding. It's what I expected too. No part of me ever believed she'd do this to our kids. After all the years she had to fight and go to therapy to help her get to a better place, I never expected her to put our kids through their own trauma with those people.